Well, we got some devastating news here on the Omega-Seville, folks. As you can see, I had to take my beautiful white walls off because I don't want them getting munged up. And you can also see another clue here, the engine hoist is out. So what's happened here is the rear main seal has a leak. It's just embarrassing, you know, when I go to the country club and this thing's leaving an oil stain there. So I'm sure we could fix it and leave the engine in the car, but I want to do this thing right. I think it deserves, you know, to be treated right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to yank the whole kit and caboodle out and re-gasket it, do it right. Now it's really tempting to just start savagely unhooking everything from the top, but I have learned the hard way over the years to start at the bottom underneath the car, even though it sucks. Get everything unhooked from the bottom first and then work my way up. The reason for that is if we start up here and we start draining all the fluids and everything else, by the time we get to the bottom, we're going to be laying in all the fluids and all the coolant and everything else and having a miserable time. Right now the floor is clean, or as clean as it's going to ever be in this dump. Okay, I think we got everything unhooked on the bottom side, except for all the stuff that I forgot to unhook. But we'll save that for when the engine is precariously dangling off the hoist. You know, gotta live a little. So now we'll start. Man, there's a lot of garbage to take off on these small Garrett cars. Look at all this nightmare. Why? Why? We're gonna start with taking the hood off, and we'll just carefully disconnect the wire here. There we go. (1978) is a great year for working on cars because they started to kind of mix in the metric system. So you got some metric, some standard, and you don't really know what you're going to get. Now I'm just being sarcastic. I really dislike the metric system. It's the worst. The worst. I hate it. Now we're going to play a fun new interactive game called How Much Coolant Will Kyle Spill on the Floor? This is going to be a multiple choice game. A, there will not be any coolant spilled at all. B, a small amount of coolant will be spilled. C, all of the coolant will be spilled on the floor. Pause the video and leave a comment and let me know what your answer is, and the answer will be revealed later on in the video. Honestly, I don't even know why I bother using a drain bucket or a drain pan anymore. Same thing happens every single time. Look at it. Look at it! Well, I think I got everything out of the way, but we'll find out soon enough. The main engine wiring harness, I think it's still clipped in at the back here somewhere, but it's hard to get to, so I'm just going to start ripping on stuff and then see what happens. The only issue is we don't have enough room here, I don't think, which means I get to take the car back off the jack stands and push it back, and yeah, that'll be fun. Well, last night we got the engine and transmission pulled out, and how much ATF did we spill on the floor? All of it. Perfect. But what's happening now is a little bit of project creep. I'm thinking while we get the engine and transmission out and regasketed and detailed up, we should probably do the same thing with the rear differential. So we're going to pull that out next. Well, this is not going to be fun. I don't know what in the world they got going on here. Of course, the axle is on top of the springs. So we got to drop the spring pack. And it's probably going to take us longer to get this axle out than it took to remove the engine and transmission. So let's stop talking about it and start, I guess, disconnecting things. Okay, I got everything disconnected except for the leaf springs, and we are now, I think, officially taking longer than it took to pull the engine out, so that's super neat. But I just wanted to show you this convoluted nightmare of garbage that they got going on here. So instead of having, two U-bolts and just a flat plate welded onto the diff, like a normal car would have, they have one U-bolt, some nuts and bolts, and the whole thing is like encapsulated in here, and then they got a big chunk of rubber all the way around, and the center bolt that holds all the leaves together is sheared off. This leaf spring is actually broken, and the story is exactly the same on the passenger side. Just sheared right off. Center pin is just sheared right off. Heavily rusted in there. Most likely the rubber was just holding moisture. So now the whole differential was just free to just float around here, move wherever it wanted to. Nothing really, keeping it in place. So I don't know what to say. What a shameful and pathetic thing. If anybody from General Motors is watching this, I just gotta tell you, do better. Just do better, or I'm going to stop buying your vehicles. Yes, that is a bit of a threat. I will boycott you if you don't come up with something a little better than this. Like, this is just pathetic. Anyway, what I'm going to try to do, and hopefully it works, is I'm going to try to lift this up and pass it through here and hope that there's enough room to get it through here without dropping the springs, because I can tell already getting all this unhooked and dropped down is going to turn into another 2-hour job. Also, the gas tank is leaking, so I've had to remove every single bolt by hand instead of cutting stuff, so that sucks. And that means we need a gas tank too, because we're totally going to fix that. And there it is, all ready to be cleaned up and whatever. Look at that, we found another broken leaf spring. Man, this thing's a pile of garbage. Anyways, this is going to take a few days to get this cleaned up, so we don't want the customer to be without a car, so we're going to install a temporary loaner rear differential in this thing. I was just installing a new differential here, and I actually noticed that this main leaf spring, you know, the thing that's kind of holding the whole back of the car up, is cracked almost all the way through. So that would have been bad if we didn't catch that now. So, well, cool stuff only seems to happen when the camera's off. I was just kind of cobbling this rear end, kind of mocking it up in here, and there's a big bang, and now the leaf spring, the main leaf spring on the driver's side, has broken in two. I don't know if you can see it or not in there. Let's see. Can you see something? Anyways. Yeah, so that makes three broken leaves, I guess, on this side. Two of the main leaves are broken, and yeah, you can kind of see, wow, this car is garbage, absolute. But yes, oh no, it's the greatest Oldsmobile Omega in existence, so well preserved and loved and cared for. No, it's garbage, absolute. And I've owned some crappy cars, but this thing's really, you know, it might take the price. Just wanted to interrupt this broadcast to remind everyone that we have brand new t-shirts available in the merchandise store. Actually, not these shirts. I mean, these shirts are better than the crap we sell, so you can probably get yourself one of these too. But I'll show you now the shirts that we do have for sale. There are limited exclusive Omega-Seville t-shirts. We've got 3 different styles, and they're going to be available in the store. And anyone who buys a t-shirt in the month of July or August will get entered in a draw to win our amazing Omega-Seville prize pack, which is actually just a bunch of garbage that I was going to throw out. But if you win, I will send that stuff to you, and then you can throw it out. Huge thanks to everyone who's already bought a t-shirt. Now let's get back to the program. Okay, well, we got a bunch of junk off of here that didn't need to be on here. So now we're left with this. But I'm feeling charitable today, so I'm not going to make you guys watch me continue cleaning this and scraping mung. Check out these spark plugs. These things have not been out of here in a long time. Of course, I remember the comments when we started this project. You're butchering up that car. Somebody loved and cherished that car. Oh, the humanity. I'll tell you what, this car has seen more love and care in the last 3 weeks that it spent at Vile Kyle's House of Horrors.
Is it out?
Yep.
Like, don't cut through the rubbers and shit.
Right. Than it has in the last 40 years. Nobody has cared about this car at all. So anyways, I think we're gonna wrap it up for this one. Like I said, you don't need to watch me scrape and mung forever. So in the next video, we are going to finish putting this all back together. We got some new exhaust and some other bits and bytes, and then we'll be getting it reinstalled back in a vehicle. We'll also be modifying the mounting for this rear axle here. We'll be deleting all of this unnecessarily complicated nonsense and going with a much more traditional and sturdier setup. Probably go through the brakes while we're at it. And then we'll also get the rear end installed back in a vehicle. Also good news, upon inspection, I originally pulled this because I thought the rear main seal was leaking, but from what I can tell, it looks like the majority of the leak was actually just the intake, possibly, and the valve covers. So we don't actually have to replace the rear main seal, which will save us a bunch of time. I do have to replace the oil pan gasket because the oil pan has a dent. You can't see it now, but at some point somebody put a floor jack under it and crushed in the bottom, so we're gonna have to pop that dent out. So oil pan does have to come off, but other than that, shouldn't have to do a whole lot to this. And I know this is where the keyboard experts pile on and say, you didn't have to pull the whole engine and transmission and everything out just to change a couple gaskets, you're wasting time. Well, you have to ask yourself there, keyboard expert, did I need to pull this engine or didn't I? The answer may surprise you. One thing's for sure, it will make it easier to get these crusty petrified spark plugs out while the engine is out. Also way easier to change the exhaust manifold gaskets and detail this thing out. So not a total waste of energy. It's probably the first time anybody's ever pulled a Smog era 305 with the intention of installing it back in a vehicle, but we like to be trailblazers here at Carter's Hairstyling, really pushing forwards and you know, changing and making new trends.